Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Pixel Empire podcast. We're your hosts Chaz and Quentin, here to introduce the show. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, my name is Quentin. I'm 20 and I'm making music when I have nothing to do house.
Hi, I'm Chaz. I'm an amateur producer and I'm your host today alongside Quentin.
Podcast goes live every other week, 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. GMT.
Thank you to Keelian and Alexa for organizing the podcast. Credits to Yuki for the animations, Hobyst for the overlay, Dossy for the jingles, Avalon for the intro design, Skeptic for graphic design, Rina for the sketch,
Shaz for the audio cleanup.
Thanks, Quentin. And everyone else's support in making this happen and the Reddit Madeon community.
Thanks, guys.
In this episode, Quentin and I are going to be discussing production. So we're going to go into FL Studio 20 and Ableton Live 10 and possibly some equipment and our own views. We're also going to be discussing Madeon's new style, the album 2 release date, teasers for album 2, what we would both personally like to see on album 2, Madeon's new IDs and the Evil Edit, and finally, Murph and I are going to be doing an interview with Mushroomizer. So, let's get into it. FL Studio 20 has finally been released. You can download it now on the ImageLine website. There's many new features, but the main features to be announced are time signatures, in situ rendering, playlist arrangements, and plugin delay compensation. And one of my favorite features that I've been looking forward to is that we finally have a native Mac version for macOS 10.11 and higher. This means that you don't have to use Boot Camp or anything to run Windows on your Mac. You can finally run native FL Studio. And it also supports Mac VST and AU plugins. The project files between Mac and PC are both interchangeable. The lifetime free updates which you would usually get on a PC. And if you buy FL Studio for Mac, you also get it on PC and vice versa at no extra cost. So you have one license for the program that runs on either platform.
So a few months ago, I decided to try the Ableton Live 10 software. I used to use Ableton Live 9 for years now, and I'm so glad the changes are here. I'm really glad about the new design. This is like the really tiny refont, but this is really important to me because you really want to make music with something who looks like recent, and this inspires you way better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It looks a lot more modern.
It's like new colors and stuff, but it's also the font that matters. Like, the font is really great. I'm sorry, this is like details, but this is really important for me.
It kind of makes you feel like the actual software is a real synthesizer.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It looks a lot more professional as well.
Yeah. What I really like about Ableton Live 10 also is the fact there's a new wavetable on it. This thing looks like Silent Fun, in case you got it. It's almost the same things, the same stuff, and it's really powerful. The downsides about this thing, you need like a powerful computer to use it. It's not like a tiny VST or something. But otherwise, the sounds that you can make are really great, and this thing is really powerful. And it's already inside the software, which is like super cool. A lot of people are gonna love this new feature because Max for Live is directly implemented inside Ableton Live 10. So you can use, for example, your MIDI controllers in a different way, or even the guitar from Guitar Hero, for example, to play as an instrument. And the most important thing you can find in this update is the fact that you can put groups inside groups. This thing is incredible. I mean, it's pretty useful, to be honest, without any jokes on it. And you gotta love this. In the arrangement group, you can now modify songs way easier, like MIDI files and even audio files. And this is like way easier to modify everything, to control everything with the automation and stuff, thanks to the redesign. So that's it for all the things I'm using right now with the new Ableton Live. This update is really great. There's a lot of things that needs to be fixed, but otherwise it's a great update. Back to you.
Next, Murph and I are going to be interviewing Mushroomizer. I've got a few questions here, but we're just going to kind of wing it. First of all, what mainly got you into production? What sparked the interest?
I guess it's appropriate that it's a Madeon podcast because, like, I was listening to Radio 1 on the way to school, and Icarus by Madeon came on,
Ooh,
and it was unlike anything I'd ever heard before. I never really delved into that electronic thing, but it was just like listening to it. It felt like it was such a complicated mess of a song, but it still somehow all worked.
It sounds beautiful altogether. Like honestly,
Exactly.
it really does.
It just like it felt so far from anything I'd ever listened to before. It was just like I have to understand what the heck he did to make any of this.
Yeah,
And then sort of,
for sure.
it all somehow works. It's still just I have no idea how he did that.
It's like a complete mess of sounds, but it blends together so well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question was going to be what mainly influenced you, but I'm guessing that's answered. What else has influenced you then? Is anything, like maybe you had another main influence or just kind of things that you picked up along the way?
I mean, like, obviously, like, the classic stuff, Funk Justice, all that stuff comes up, but, like, if we're talking something, like, a little bit uniquer, throughout university, I sort of went quite into, like, the classics department, exploring, like, super old-timey stuff and how complete orchestras can be produced and composed for, and something that it was unlike anything I'd ever truly experienced before, but I'm trying to incorporate it into the music things I'm working on now. Just that kind of mentality of orchestral sounds, but with electronic-y things, and seeing how it goes.
That sounds pretty interesting, especially like Alice in Wonderland. She actually produced classical music, or she, don't quote me on this, but she actually used to play cello.
Oh,
and
I did not know that, if that is true, so that's
through
interesting.
cello, and somehow she got into electronic music from it, which is weird because you think someone that makes or at least enjoys classical music is gonna be like, what's this? So
It does feel like something which like they feel too far apart for someone to potentially enjoy both, but they cross over in so many different ways, especially with like the more modern electronic things. Future bass has been turning quite into orchestral sounding things, using lots of harps and flutes and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not too surprising, but
Also
I definitely imagine. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, you. No, it's just like when chatting to the people who were like, oh, I'm grade 9 in 8 different instruments, who like obsessed over orchestral, they despise like electronic music as it was like 2 years ago, just because it was so simple and bland, and I can't imagine their opinion has changed. But
honestly, when I say that I listen to electronic music, a lot of people think, I mean, I'm not saying that this genre of music is bad, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people just think it's a lot of woobie sounds smashed together. Or like when you say, I produce music on the computer, people think that the computer does it all for you, or that anyone can do that, but really, it's not that simple.
Because it's something you don't really learn about in school or anything. It's just like you assume it's easy because there's no reason you would have ever delved into it unless you properly wanted to try. So a lot of people have no idea, but I can't really blame them, really.
And going into that world is like kind of scary because there's so much to learn. It's kind of overwhelming at first, I think.
I remember especially the first time I opened FL Studio, I was like, what the hell? Like, I was so confused. But I generally learned the user interface quite quickly, because I've only recently started to properly delve into producing, or at least just experimenting with making music on my computer. But I just remember sometime last year, right at like early 2017, I opened FL Studio and I tried making something, and it sounded horrible, honestly. Like, and I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. This isn't working. And I remember thinking so hard of like melodies that I could come up with, or chords, or stuff like that. Like just on the way to school, or whenever I had spare time, I would put so much effort into trying to come up with something. And then when I would, it just sounded too forced. But again, earlier this year, just some random idea popped into my head. And I thought, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna open, my door, and I'm gonna get this down, and I'm gonna do it. And I think that sort of creativity is better than just thinking I have to do this because I need to, and it's got to be done. Instead of having that mindset where you force yourself to come up with something, you know, it's better. It just doesn't sound as good as when you sort of get that idea. Or that's why it's also good to keep sort of like half-baked ideas. So if you do run out of ideas, you can sort of go back to them. And I just
that's definitely all true. No, it's a good run. It's definitely true. Like the creativity that just sort of happens without really thinking about it is what kind of makes, well, at least for me, like the best things that I've ever come up with.
Yeah,
For sure.
And it's important. Like my voice notes app is like the most used thing, just because every time it's like, what is this thing in my brain? Let me sing it, and then hopefully I can make it.
yeah, which is a really good idea, and I totally support that. So anyway, we've kind of gone off from the questions, but oh well. Okay, so what are your plans for the future? What have you been doing recently, and what are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself going?
It's very like job interview-esque now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, because basically, like, quite a few months back, I sort of decided I don't really know enough about all aspects of music making. Like the home remix was literally the second thing I ever made, and it got quite big to the point where I felt like I had to make more things, even though I really wasn't ready.
Right.
And
I mean, it has a lot of SoundCloud players now. I mean, I've got your page open, and I actually really enjoyed that remix.
I mean, thank you, but God, it was like it was.
I know how you feel.
So long ago. Like I knew nothing back then. I knew absolutely nothing.
I mean, I this isn't a boast, but this is the opposite of a boast. I don't know anything. Okay, I don't know anything. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to start doing, just learning more music theory and doing all of that stuff, because it's important.
It is. I sort of put it off for so long because it's like, hey, you don't need it, but you really do. It's
like you see there's really long YouTube videos, like, you know, music theory for dummies, 2 hours long. You're like, I'll just wing it. It's fine. And then you get like, yeah, I need a melody, and to be honest, I don't think this riff machine is giving me any good melodies. So yeah,
I could definitely relate to that.
yeah, I mean, I'm not dissing FL Studio's riff machine. I just can't get anything good out of it. Maybe I'm not.
I mean, no, honestly, I'd agree with all of that. You need to know all of the theory, and it's hard to sort of push yourself to properly delve into it. But
yeah,
that's what I've been trying to do, and my whole plan is like, I'm making, well, almost done making 5 different songs that are all like the sort of songs that I wish I could make when I started making, but sort of drifted away from. So they're all quite different. And the plan is basically, once those are out, I'll properly start releasing music again. But I don't know when that'll be.
It has been a while, right? Because you took time.
It has been a very long time. Yeah. I hate so many things on that SoundCloud page. That's why I've taken a break to make something that I'm proud of again.
Which is good. You know, it's always good to take a break and reevaluate what's going on. And I'm not saying you need to reevaluate, because you're really talented, and I'm not gonna lie, that's not some random crap that I've just said because I'm in an interview and I have to support you. Genuinely, I think you're quite talented.
Thank you. That's really weird to hear, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably used to hearing it from comment sections, but whatever.
It's weird hearing a real voice, though, especially a voice on the computer. That's new.
Yeah. I mean, because it's quite different when you like show friends or family that might not understand it. You know, like they're like, oh yeah, that's cool, yeah. And then you got your project file open, and there's like a bunch of automation clips and all these playlist clips, and they're like, okay, that's cool, and you're like, right, okay.
Moving on.
That sums up far too well.
Yeah, honestly. Anyway, so what audio workstation do you use, and what equipment do you have in your studio?
Equipment? I mean, mostly everything is software. I can't really afford any of the fancy stuff, so it's just, you know, fancy-ish software.
I see you have, did you do a Launchpad performance?
Yeah, launch, like, admittedly, I have 3 launch pads. I should probably cut down on that. Well, I got like the first one when it came out, and then it was like, oh, there's a new one, and it's like, let's get that, and then there was a new one. It's like, oh, I have to get that. That's probably why.
Do you do live performances, like DJ?
I've been.
Local places?
I just like a week ago got invited to do a show at my uni's Freshers Week, so I'm sort of preparing for all of that, which is launch pads and everything.
Oh,
is it originals or is it a set, like a DJ set?
I think a bit of both, I guess. Like, I'm gonna be performing the originals, but like DJing things that aren't mine. That's that's sort of the plan. No idea how well it'll go, but we'll see what happens.
Definitely, sounds
That's
good.
awesome.
But DAW-wise, I use well, FL. It's weird, but I use both Ableton and FL, and with FL, I make the things and the ideas, and in Ableton, I render them out in FL and then put them together in Ableton, mix them, master them.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, sorry, go on.
No, it makes things a lot sort of simpler. It's like the best of both worlds, because FL Studio is so free flow and it's nice to create things, but Ableton, its rigid structure makes it quite nice for
sure.
organizing.
I do something very similar in that I produce a lot of my music in FL and then do the stems in Ableton and mix it there. And then I also do Ableton for live stuff because it, I think, just has better layout for that.
Oh, I definitely agree with that.
Honestly, I mean, I remember first trying to use performance mode in FL, and I was like, no, and I just went on and used Ableton again. But I decided to go back to it like last month, and I tried, and I was like, oh well, okay, this is pretty cool, because I mean, I was just messing around, not really knowing what I was doing. I was putting like automation clips in it, and it just got a bit messy, and I still don't fully understand it, if I'm honest. I do prefer Ableton, but because I'm not rich enough to afford Ableton Live and FL, so I only have Live Lite, which came with my launchpad, so I just have to do what you guys said with the stems.
Honestly though, it works quite nicely. Like, just having stems is sort of enough, really, and it makes the whole project run a bit smoother, which is always a nice plus.
Yeah,
Right.
I've started to hit the gate on the CPU where like I've got so many plugins. Like, I was just working on a project recently that I just wanted to get out of the way, and I saw how long the clip paint was getting with like audio and automation and plugins, and I was like, I really don't want to clean this up. I'm just gonna just leave it. And it was just like starting to crackle the audio, and I was like, I don't like this.
It's never a nice feeling when it all crackles and you can just see that giant red line. It's like, oh god, I don't want to have to delete all my audio clips and make it all optimized. It takes far too long.
Especially like when you're so happy with the idea and you just want to jam out to it, and then it's just crackling every few seconds. Yeah, it's not good.
So,
Do you have any like MIDI keyboards, or is it just launchpads?
I do have a... Oh god. I'm trying to find like the box, I can't remember what it's exactly called, but it's like an M-Audio key station something. It's oh god, I think it's like, it's 5 octaves, so however many numbers that is.
Maths.
We're all doing maths now.
Great, so what's favorite artists, albums, etc.?
I mean, right now, do you know Konak? Like Konac. He's like he's like a Japanese. He's on SoundCloud and everything. He's not very big, but like his stuff is like, he's made maybe 4 things and they're all phenomenal. And I just like listen to him especially. Last Island is probably another one.
Oh yeah.
Did the Porter Robinson remix on the Fresh Static Snow.
I do quite like that.
Oh right, that was them, yeah. You said
yeah, I've got a Spotify page up.
Probably also Shadiant, which, I mean, these are all names that are like big in the Madeon Porter community, but I feel a bit cliche, but yeah, it's the truth.
I quite like his track Lotus. I think I used it in a set not long ago actually, it works quite well.
It really does. It flows so nicely with whatever you want to put on top of it or before and after it. It's just so nice.
Yeah, it's quite a good sort of transition track, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to a lot more sort of down-tempo, dark electronic music, if that makes sense. Since,
Like Rez?
since Madeon released his Evil Edit. Sorry, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Like stuff like Rez and stuff.
Yeah, like Rez 178AL.
That whole thing is huge right now.
It is. It's growing quite fast as well.
It is kind of amazing. Like, it's something that you'd always think is very niche, but it's quickly becoming, like, the norm. Especially with Rez being so huge and everything. It's just
I'm
crazy.
okay with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's nice. It's just something I never expected to happen, and now it is. It's just a bit odd.
It is, yeah.
Alright, we got a few more questions, I think.
Alright, go through it.
So you said you were working on like a 5-song EP, right?
Well, I mean, I'm undecided whether it's an EP or not, whether it'll just be releasing 5 songs, one after the other, or maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, it's really more of like a personal thing of just trying to accomplish more of a variety of genres than what I've been currently doing over the last few years. But I also have like a couple official remixes that should come out soon. Labels are tricky, but hopefully all that will be sorted soon enough, so I will actually have something to show the world shortly.
I'm excited. And so that's kind of your plan for the near future? Is
Pretty much, yeah.
just kind of coming back and showing us your new stuff?
I figured, like, I've been gone for so long now that I might as well come back with something to show for it, rather than just sort of coming back because I feel like I have to.
Yes, I agree with that point. I think it'd be good to. You mean like come back with something quite big?
Well, at least like maybe multiple songs all at once. Whether it's an EP or not, I'm still not sure. But just something to be like, I have been working over these last few years, and I swear I've improved. Please let me prove it to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get that. So, what's your favorite plugin right now? What's your plugin arsenal like?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, in terms of generators, I've been messing around a lot with just like Serum wavetables and creating my own things and just recording nonsense and turning it into fat bass craziness. That's always just fun.
Serum is a really easy to use and get the hang of plugin. Like a lot of other plugins, like Spire, I think it has a good sound set, but I am so lost in trying to make my own sounds in that. Honestly.
Something that I learned about Serum recently was that its noise oscillators actually doubles as a sampler, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that.
I can just like put anything in it and tune it along, and it's all very nice. Yeah, I definitely love using that as well. I mean, like,
yeah, a technique I used quite recently is having. I don't know if I told you about this, Murph. What I did is I turned on both oscillators. I think it was 2 saw waves. I can't remember what it was for. And I turned down the level on oscillator B, and then I used that as a FM modulator, just for a little bit of FM, because when you have too much modulation, it doesn't sound the best. But if you use it quite small and well, it works pretty effectively. But it obviously depends what you're applying it to.
oh yeah, that's fair. But utilizing FM in interesting ways is what kind of creates like the most interesting sounds. So that definitely does make sense. Yeah.
I think just Serum's in general just quite a good plugin. I mean, I've only got it recently. I do enjoy using it, and at first I was like, oh my god, what is this? But it's not like you exactly have to learn much. Like it's not particularly difficult to get the hang of.
Right. And it's not horribly expensive. It's like, what, 10 a month?
Yeah, it's from Splice. It's quite cheap actually.
That whole like pay every month to eventually own a plugin thing is something I wish that was around when I got Serum and everything. Would have made life so much more affordable. But it is definitely nice that it's at least around now. But that is good. See, my first plugin was Sytrus, which is the most complicated mess of a plugin in the world.
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing to have as like my introduction to music. But at least it kind of means I feel like I'm prepared for whatever crazy UI nonsense comes up next.
Yeah, I guess. I think my 2 favorite plugins must be like, well, my favorite plugin must be either Harmer or Harmless. I think they work quite well for chords.
Oh, that is definitely true. Especially harmless. I love using that as just like for whatever nice layer to complement whatever massive chord stack I'm using. It's always really nice for that.
Yeah. I think it's used quite a lot in Future Bass as well for the chords. Don't quote me on that though, but I do think it works quite well in that sort of genre too. Yeah, so sorry, did you say that you had a favorite plugin or?
I mean, if we're talking mixer stuff,
well, I mean, okay, so what's your favorite generator? What's your favorite mixer plugin?
Generator, yeah, probably. Admittedly, Serum right now. I just use it for everything. I should probably variety it up a bit more, but
I mean, it works quite well for it works quite well for a lot of different sounds. So
that's why it just feels like might as well use it.
Yeah, I get you.
But mixer-wise, there's a compressor called like API -2500, which is really, really nice and smooth, and it has that sort of analog sound, which just sounds really nice when you put it on top of something crazy electronic. And so really, probably those two things, I'd say.
Fair enough. I mean, I haven't heard
of course, Camel Crusher is beautiful.
Yeah, Camel Crusher is.
Is that compressor like super obscure? I've never heard of it.
Me neither, actually.
It's by Waves. I don't know how obscure or not it is. I just remember like I was watching like a Virtual Riot live stream and he was using it a lot, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna save up for that. And then eventually I got it, and it is really nice.
It's actually on sale now for $59.
Ooh. We've got like a little advertisement plug in this now.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I was just googling that because I hadn't actually heard of it. So our final question, which is quite unprofessional, but me and Murph had this quite last minute. Okay, so first of all, this doesn't work if... Okay, do you play Smash?
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot we were talking about this.
Okay, so you do play Smash?
I do play Smash, yes.
Like often?
I mean, not as often anymore, just because my Wii U is too far away. But when it comes out on the Switch, I'm going to be all over that.
Yes, I am waiting for that.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, yes. So yeah, I feel with the whole Wii U being too far. I've been playing like a lot of Switch handheld just because my monitor only has one HDMI port and it was like 150 quid, and I was really confused by that, but I got it anyway. And like I have to swap the cables, and I'm just that lazy. I just honestly.
I don't blame you too much for that. I feel like I'd be hypocritical to judge you.
Who do you main in Smash?
Who do I main? Sheik, probably. I just like... She just moves around so effortlessly, it's nice. You can just run into people and just knock them away.
That is true. I haven't... I've only really started playing Smash recently, so I'm not gonna lie and pretend I'm a pro player. The only characters that I've really played are Link, Pikachu, Kirby, Peach, Villager.
To be fair, I love Villager, so Villager. You're not doing anything wrong there.
I mean, I have the Rob amiibo, so you know. I think I bought that just for Super Mario Odyssey, just so I could do that thing where you scan the amiibo and you get like extra coins or an extra heart or something like that. I don't know. It was on sale.
I haven't played Odyssey still, but I really want to.
I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet.
Oh, you should.
God, you both need to get on it.
I need to. I've been playing a lot of GameCube recently. I've been playing Twilight Princess again.
That's lovely.
So I've been playing some more 3DS as well. The Switch. Splatoon 2 is like a baller game for the Switch.
Admittedly, I need to get that at some point.
I didn't waste, but I spent so much money on Switch games.
It's funny. The only Zelda game I've played before Breath of the Wild was like the very first one that they ever put out.
I've only really played it on an emulator, so...
Same here, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all the questions we really have, to be honest.
Cool. Fair enough.
Oh, what's your opinion on Waluigi not being in Smash Bros. Ultimate?
It's a travesty. Like, how dare they?
I can't believe it. I mean, where's he at, though? Apparently they didn't think he was that important.
Everyone loves him, though.
I mean, Ridley really took the spotlight on that, though.
That's true. Everyone's been wanting Ridley for so long now. Even though I haven't quite understood why, but... Because, like, did you play Brawl?
No.
I have not either, no.
Because it's like a little boss fight with Ridley and it's great, but Ridley all tiny just looks a bit odd to me. I've never got over that.
Yeah.
Doesn't look
Because
quite
at first, I totally forgot about Ridley. Like, they're like, yeah, Ridley's in the game. I'm like, oh, him.
Well, I think it was such a big deal because it was like such a long-lasting joke in the community that it kind of just got put in the game after all these years.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that kind of concludes everything.
Ah, cool. So this has been fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
look forward
thanks-
to
thanks.
your releases.
And hopefully we shall maybe have you back sometime. See how you're doing.
Yeah.
When
No.
your songs come out.
When things are out, I'd definitely be up for that, yeah.
Definitely send us a message.
I shall do. That sounds good.
Sweet.
All right. Well, thank you, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Alright, see ya.
Yeah,
Bye.
nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
So that concludes the interview with Mushroomizer. Now we're going to be talking about Madeon's new album, what we want to see on his new album, some album teasers. We're also going to speculate the album release date, although, I mean, it probably will be a few more years. Recently, Madeon has been playing a lot of interesting IDs in his sets. If you've been attending Madeon's recent sets, or maybe been watching them on YouTube, you may have noticed that he's been playing a lot more new and interesting IDs at his sets.
However, tracks like Stupid or the Shelter Evil Edit won't be his style for the next album.
Yeah, Madeon confirmed this on Twitter, especially that Stupid is not going to be his new style. Although, we do think that Stupid has a really, really cool style to it. If you've been paying attention to the Madeon Discord, you may have noticed that there's a new channel in the chat room section called Guess When Madeon's New Album Will Be Released. You may have noticed that there's been a lot of jokes about when the new album will eventually come out. I mean, he did say 2017 for sure. But I guess it's going to be a bit longer. I can't blame Madeon, but I do know that I'm sure he's putting all efforts in to make it amazing.
And I don't want to wait anymore.
But yeah, we Hugo, we want it.
Yeah, we are pretty excited, so if you can be a little bit faster, that would be nice, thank you.
So, we've been speculating a lot of different ideas. There's been teasers here and there, and we've also, one of our new favorite IDs is the one that he played at Yale. I think he also played it at Brownies and Lemonade, which is really, really cool in our opinion. It sounds really cool. It also keeps his old style. It sounds a bit like his old style, but there's definitely a new section. And also he mixes in Cormac's remix of Beings, which I do enjoy a lot as well.
Personally, I think the next Madeon album will be released on the 16th of November 2018.
It's pretty specific.
Yeah, because it's a Friday, and every album is released each Friday. So.
Oh, well, that's a fair point. I hope that it's gonna come by the end of this year. But I mean, if Madeon's taking more time to perfect it, you know, and make sure that everything's ready, then that's fine. Because I'd want to have the album perfect and done, instead of, you know, like I'd prefer it to be to his best ability. You know, I don't want him to feel rushed to release it.
Yeah.
So I'd also say November, December time.
Yeah.
I'd hope to expect it by then, but it could come before. You never.
And we both know that Madeon is really perfectionist. Like each second of each track is really important to it, so he won't rush the thing.
Yeah, that is true. I totally get that it could be taking a bit longer just because he wants to get everything right. So that's completely fine. In my opinion, I think that there's going to be 10 to 12 tracks in the album too, just because there was 18 in Adventure Deluxe, but that included older singles as well. So I think maybe 10 to 12, maybe a bit less, but definitely around that range. And I think he's going to be doing some collaborations, maybe. I'm not sure though. I'm not definite on that. At the beginning of this month, Lewis the Child posted a picture on their Instagram saying that they went to Madeon's house, which kind of makes me think that there could be a collaboration there, but I'm not too sure. It might have been a joke, it might not. But that does make me think that there could be some collaborations. But I do think that Madeon's going to be singing a lot more on this album.
So, if you have any ideas, don't forget to say it in the chat, but I'll read it live.
Something that got me really hyped up this month is that Madeon dropped the Evil edit in full wave format for all of us to enjoy. If you didn't notice, he dropped it, well, I mean you probably did notice, but just in case you didn't, he put a secret message at the top right of his birthday tweet, which then takes you to a link where you can download the Evil edit in full wave.
The alphabet used is the Braille alphabet, which is the same as the Madeon alphabet, but with in Braille style. So this is pretty new, and you can find the font file right into the folder close to the Madeon Evil edit.
Yeah, so Madeon tweeted that he sent it early to Rez, which is why she's been playing it in a lot of her sets. And he also did say that it was inspired by her style, which I think is really cool because I really enjoy Rez's style. But once again, it is not his new style.
He wrote inside the notepad file that this is something he never done before. It doesn't have he doesn't make things like that usually, so this is pretty new to me. And the internet reaction was like awesome with this new track released.
It really was. Okay, so that concludes this episode of the Pixel Empire podcast. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description. I also just want to say a big thank you to everyone who tuned into the DJ night last Friday. Avalon, I really enjoyed your DJ set, and we hope to hear more music like it. Also, feel free to join the Madeon Discord and submit your own Monday mix or full DJ set. Finally, once again, I just wanted to say thank you to Killian and Alexa for organising this.
That was a pleasure to talk with you, Chaz, and participate in this episode of the Pixel Empire podcast.
You too, it's been a pleasure being on the show. Up next is VRSE's Monday Mix. We have been Quentin and Chaz, and this is the Pixel Empire podcast.
Let's do something crazy tonight, she whispered. When the unusual seems usual, things start to get interesting. Come find